make clear is that sometimes we always get the notion of questionnaire wrongly. I'm saying this because I see many students design a questionnaire and they put it in maybe NUGS groups, friends groups, like groups that are not related to exactly what they are even studying, and they expect to get results. It doesn't work that way. That is why sometimes you're trying to help someone, or you're trying to analyze data for someone, and you realize that you are not getting the result that is expected. It doesn't make sense because the person is giving the questionnaire to the wrong target. So now let's just look at the three basic things that I want to talk about today. First of all, the design. The design. How do you design a questionnaire? Now, as we all know, you cannot just sit in your room and design a questionnaire. It doesn't work that way. If you want to design a good questionnaire, the first thing is to adopt. Now, when I say adopt is that you need to look at what others have done or are doing in your area. Remember, you are not going to be the first person and you will not be the last person. So adoption is the best. You adopt and you can change. So first of all, you have to adopt and make sure that whatever you're adopting is fitting to your standards or is fitting to the objectives that you have. Second is to also completely design a new questionnaire, which might not be new because you're still going to fall on existing literature, because whatever you are going to ask out there should be related to something which is already out there. But let me just say, you're going to design a new one based on literature. But you need to consider a few things. You need to consider the ethical implications of your questionnaire. Remember which country you are in. Remember which group you are going to send your questionnaire to, and know which questions are not appropriate. Because if you ask a question which is not appropriate, it is not going to be something that maybe the respondents are going to take lightly, or it could either even land you in trouble, maybe some legal issues. So sometimes you need to be very careful about the ethical implications of the questionnaire that you are designing and what should go into it. So what I suggest is that normally before you design a questionnaire, you need to critically have a discussion with your supervisor. After you have adopted, based on your objectives and the existing theories, you have a discussion with your supervisor to look at the ethical implications, because of course they have experience, and wherever you're going to administer your questionnaire, you also have to consider the ethical implications of those areas. Then you'll be able to fit your questions in a manner that is not offensive to anyone. So for example, right now you cannot design a questionnaire and say boy and girl. In some countries it's offensive because you are ignoring some other sex, you see. So you have to be very careful when it comes to the design of the questionnaire. Now, what is pretest? Sometimes we just sit in our rooms, design a questionnaire, and boom, we go out. No, it's not proper. You need to go for a pretest, or what others call a piloting. You need to test your instrument to see if it's even going to measure what you are looking for. So first of all, you can test the instrument for wording to see if the English you are even using is appropriate or people can understand. So normally you can choose just a few people from that population, and you can let them have a chance to answer the questions, and you can see if the response you are getting is what you are expecting or not. If you do the pretest and you realize that some are struggling, then you need to come back and revise your questionnaire to find out how best to make it easier for them to understand. Otherwise, trust me, you're not going to get the result that you are looking for. Great. So after pretest, making sure that your questionnaire is on point, the wording is okay, is measuring what you are looking for, then you can go for the administration. How do you administer the questionnaire? Basically, we like to go online because online is cheaper compared to going manually. Imagine if you want to conduct research in the whole of Ghana and you want to travel all over the place, it's not possible. So currently we like to go online, and going online has its own implications. This is where sometimes students are tempted to give the questionnaire to just close friends to answer or give them response. And definitely you're not going to get the results that you are looking for unless you just want to carry out a shoddy research where one day you see your own result and you regret. But if you really want the right answers, then you need to put in place some measures to make sure that the questionnaire you are sending online is getting to the right group. Now, how do you get the questionnaire to the right group? Do you want to pay or you want to do it yourself? Now, there are several companies out there that can do this for you, but it comes at a cost. For example, if you want to use SurveyMonkeys, you give them your questionnaire, they look at your target group, they look at your target population, and you're going to pay them, and they are going to send your questionnaire out there and get people to fill it for you, the right people to fill it for you. Do you want to do that? If that is not the case, then you need to find a way to reach the right target group. Let me give you an example with my case. I wrote a paper on the use of financial technology payment systems. So the likes of mobile money, credit cards, debit cards, and e-switch and stuff like that in Ghana. And my target was small and medium-sized enterprises. Now, I know very well that there are dozens of them in Ghana, but how do I get to them? The smartest way is to contact their head or their head corporation, which is the Association of Ghanaian Industries, which oversees the operations of all SMEs in Ghana. Although they don't have all the data, they don't have data on all the businesses in Ghana, at least I can write in my paper that they have at least accurate data on registered SMEs in Ghana. So I contacted them, sent them a letter, and they gave me a list of all the SMEs in their database. And then I created a WhatsApp group, introduced myself, told them what I'm doing, and then I administered my online questionnaire to them, and I got the response I'm looking for. This is better than me going to just Facebook and throwing there my link and say, hello, can you help me fill my form? Because the response I'm going to have is probably going to come from someone who doesn't even own a business. This means my result is going to be flawed, and I'm not going to be able to give any proper account. So some of us have been found, putting online questionnaire on student groups and stuff like that. I think it's not proper unless your topic is more of a student issue. So if I'm conducting research on how COVID-19 affects students in China, then it's okay. I can put it in a group and students can fill it for me. So if you want to administer questionnaire, first of all, you need to get to the right organization, get a permission and administer your questionnaire and get the right response. Great. Now we go to referencing. Now referencing is one of the most hectic things that me as a PhD student have encountered. It's one of the things that if you don't have the skill or if you don't have the shortcut to do it, it can actually frustrate you because no matter what, you cannot just copy someone's work without giving the needed, the needed citation. So how do we do it? Those days, we just did it manually. You just go, manually, you put everything in there manually. But now, thanks to technology, you can use the Mendeley or you can use the EndNote, and life it's much easier. For this section, I'm going to do a live demonstration. So I'm going to close the PowerPoint and I'm going to go straight to my Mendeley. So this is how Mendeley looks like. Can you see? Hello?
No, please, we can't see.
No, we can't.
And she loves to show me off. It's a black screen.
Yes, can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see
It's
now?
better now.
Yes.
Yeah, we can see now.
Yeah,
So,
I can see now.
so this is how Mendy looks like, okay? And as you can see on my left, which will be probably on the right, I have different folders where I keep all my references or all the articles that I'm reviewing or I'm working with. I have different groups, folders where I keep all my papers, okay? Now, what Mendeley does is that it helps you to group your articles, and it also helps you to automate your referencing. So if you are writing a paper and you need to put in a reference, Mendeley is going to do it for you without you hassling. Now, let me show you how to use it. So I'm going to open Word document, okay? I'm going to open Word document and let's say, can you see the Word document? Okay, so where's the Word document? Okay, can you see the Word document, please?
Yeah.
Yes, we can see.
Yes, yes. So this is a new page that I've opened, and let's say I'm writing. Okay, so let me just say I'm writing, and let's say I begin to type. Maybe the age of technology is fast advancing. Okay, now I've written the age of technology is fast advancing, and I want to credit somebody for this, okay? I want to credit somebody for this statement. Now, you look up here, you go to references up here, okay? Can you follow?
Yeah.
Yes, you go to references up here, and you can see the Mendeley logo, insert citation. So just click on that, okay? And so you can change anything you want. You can change the referencing style. You can import referencing style. So what you actually do is just click here and go to insert. And let's say, let me cite Catalini, okay? So just click on Catalini and okay. And the software is gonna, can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
we
yes.
can see.
Yes, and I can also go, God can do it. Okay, I can go, God can do it. Okay, go against citation. Let's say I want to cite 4 people. I can go, can cite myself, can cite my work. I can cite, let's say, Chris. See, I can cite as many people as possible. And when I go, okay, see, it's going to put everything there for me. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes, so you don't have to go back manually, type it in. No. It's going to do everything for you like that. And now when you are done, let's say I'm done writing my research paper and I want to create a reference list. Okay, I want to create a reference list. All I need to do is just come down here and go to my references and go to insert. You go to insert bibliography. You go insert and look up what is going to happen. Can you see? So this is what Mendeley does for you, okay? This is what Mendeley does for you. It's easy. You don't have to struggle. It's going to generate all the referencing lists for you. So once you write, just type it in. Once you write, just type it in. When you are done, just go down to references and go insert, and voila, you have all your lists. And you can change the referencing style. If you look up here, you have AMA, you have APA, Harvard style. You can have any other references you want. If you want more, you can go more styles and you can download and you can have any style you want. So you don't have to do any referencing by yourself. Now, let's assume that you have an article online that you want to bring to your Mendeley, okay? So can you see my Google?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So let's say I have an article that I've seen the article online and I want to import the referencing of that article to my Mendeley. It's easy. So I go to Google Scholar. Okay. So, and let's say, let's just type actor network theory. Okay. So it opens. Okay. It opens and you can just click. You can just click, okay? So once the website is opened, okay, you can go right up here and click the Mendeley logo on your browser. You can click the Mendeley logo on your browser. You sign in. Yes, you sign in and can you see all the references will come? So you can just click, add, and it goes straight into your Mendeley. See? So you click. So if I want to put Brian, I click on Brian and I go add. And voila, it's added to my referencing list. So if I want to see it, I go to my Mendeley, okay? I synchronize. Yes, and then you go to type Brian and voila, you have it, okay? So basically this is how to use Mendeley. If you couldn't follow, let's say you couldn't really follow because the presentation is a little bit fast, don't worry. Mendeley is very easy to use. Just go get yourself Mendeley desktop. I'm trying to show you how it looks like. It's free, you don't have to pay anything. So download Mendeley. Okay, I'm using iOS, but if you're using Windows, you get a Windows version. And download Mendeley, create an account, and just watch maybe a minute or two video on YouTube, and trust me, you are good to go. You can use it perfectly. Just spend a little bit of time and you are good to go. All right, so let's say you want to also add papers. You want to add papers because I think the first presentation when Dr. Mark was talking, I heard some students saying, what if you cannot have access to quality papers? Yes, this has been a challenge, but some universities, although they pay, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to come across good papers for free. Now, if you want to get a good paper for free, you can use SCI Hub for free, SCI Hub. I'm going to show you how it works. So let's assume we have a paper that, let me find current papers, maybe 2020 paper. Let's get a paper which is paid. Let's get a paper which is paid. Okay, Springer. Springer is definitely, yes, this is paid. This is not free. So this is paid. All I need to do is copy the link, and you come to SCI Hub. This is the website, SCI Hub, okay? Come to SCI Hub and you paste, okay? And you go open. Wait a minute, it's gonna show up. Yes, and voila, the paper is here. Can you see it? Can you see it? So you can have, yes, you can have any paper you want. So for example, let's find another paper. Let's say, which other paper? Let's say, you want maybe the effects of stock prices or maybe inflation or something. Okay, so you can, yes, so you can get a paper. Yes, this is definitely not free, Taylor and Francis. So just get any paper at all, don't worry. This is also not free, okay? This you have to pay. So if I really need this paper, then what I can do is just copy the link, go to SCI Hub, paste here, and go to open, and it should get the paper for me. Yes, you see, it gets the paper for you. So you have the paper and you can have access to the paper. So with SCI Hub, sorry, you shouldn't have any challenge, especially when it comes to reading or getting good papers, unless you don't know exactly the paper you're looking for. But once you like the paper and you have the link, you can always download it from SCI Hub. So I think with that, I think I'm going to bring my presentation to a close. What I'll say is that if you need further explanation or you need further assistance, I'm always available. You can contact Joseph, and I'm always available. And so far as we are all in academia together, I believe we can learn from each other, and we can always grow together. Thank you very much for your audience today.
You're welcome, sir. We're very, very grateful.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Stephens P.K. Kofi. And please, as customs demand, I want to say that shall we, in one accord, put our hands together for our facilitator for the day. Just a moment. And please, at this point in time, we invite questions from members. You can write your question at the chat session, or you can raise up your hand, and then I will invite you to present your question to the facilitator for the day. And please, quickly, let me start with my question. Doc, assuming that I've designed my questionnaire successfully, with online system, how do I present the questions in an online system where I can send it, as we have been seeing some people sending their questionnaires through WeChat or WhatsApp or Facebook? So with that system, can you please take a minute or two to update us on how to present the questionnaire in the online portal? Thank you.
Thank you. Great. I think this is a wonderful question. And with this, I think I will take you back to sharing my screen again so that I can make a visual presentation. So let's assume that you want to design a questionnaire. Most of these online questionnaire softwares are not free. Let me sound a word of caution. Some of them will charge you, others are free, but I don't know which one you want to go for. But for me, I prefer to use the Google form or the SurveyMonkey. The Google form is free, but the SurveyMonkey you have to pay. And the ones they use in China here, I don't know if it's free or not. So for that, I cannot comment on that, but I'll just demonstrate how Google Forms works, okay, which is great. I've used it to collect data from different sources. So if you can follow me, can you see my screen?
Yes, please.
Great. So you go to Google, okay, and you just type Google Forms. Make sure you are signed in, okay? Make sure your Gmail account is signed in. And then you just go to free online surveys, okay, for personal use. So you just click and it takes you here, okay? Now, if you come here, you can click on go to Google Forms. So just go, click on that and it's gonna load, okay? So I'm going to, for presentation, I'm going to start a new page, but let me just show you what I've designed previously, okay? What I've designed previously with the Google Forms. So if you can see, this is the questionnaire that I sent to the Association of Ghanaian Industries to collect data from the SMEs. This was done by Google Form. I designed it myself, and you don't need the help of anyone. It's as simple as that. You can do it yourself, okay? So let me just go back and open a blank page, okay? So on my left, top left, you can see maybe on your left, you go for a blank, okay? You go for blank and voila, it comes blank, okay? So what is the title? So here you can write maybe whatever, maybe it's your university name, or if you want to write about maybe SME in Ghana, okay? Description, you can describe, you can talk blah, 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 blah about your research, just to give people a little bit, insight about what you want to do. You can write as many as you want, just write. Then you go to the questions. So now, question number 1, you can choose gender. Now you have option 1, option 2, you can add as many as possible. And you can choose from here, okay? Check boxes, multiple choice, paragraph, short answers, multiple choice grade, if it's date you want them to put, if it's a time you want them to put, if you want to upload a file, if you want them to drop down, So for example, I want to drop down. So I can say first one male, second one is female, okay? And let's say the third one is the other gender, okay? Other, okay? Great, so you're done. Is it a requirement? So here you can see required. If it's a requirement, if your question is not optional and it's a requirement, then you need to click this to make it required, okay? So you make it required. Now, if you are done, you can go and add another question, okay? So you just go here and you add the next question. So you can just follow the procedure and complete your questionnaire. It's as simple as that. Any way you want them to answer, you have the options. You can have multiple choice, you can have check boxes, you can have Likert scale, everything is here. Everything is here. So you see, you can have them choose. So everything is here, you can follow. And when you are done, you go to send, okay? When you are done, let's say you are done with all the design, you just go to send, okay? And you go to the link here and just copy the link and share with your friends. And you are done. So the same way, if you go to SurveyMonkey, you have to design it yourself this way. And I'm believing that even if you go to the other Chinese apps that people are using, you have to design it just like this. The templates are there, just follow them and set the questions right and just send the link and they will fill it. And you can access it back and get your data.
All right, thank you very much, Doc.
You're welcome.
Please, about the interpretation of this data. When you
Yes.
receive the output, would it be a raw data or a processed data? How would the form be?
Yes. You can receive let me call it semi-processed data. Semi-processed data where you can, sometimes they give you the graphs with the, how do you call it? With the Google Forms, they're going to give you graph. So they're going to tell you that maybe 20% said this, 30% said that, these are female, these are male. So the challenge here is when you want to export the data from Google Forms, that is a challenge. If you want to export the data, it's going to be difficult. Probably you have to do it manually by taking each of the respondents, what they said, because if you want to take them as a whole in terms of percentage, then you're going to lose the variation in the responses of the individual respondents. That is why if you really want something that gives you the raw data, then you need to go for the advanced one, which are paid.
Okay.
Yes, that you can have the raw data and that you can work with straightforward, which you don't have to go through the hassle of picking the data one after the other.
All right, thank you. There's a question from Mosi Amiao. He says that what of using QR code to collect data?
Yes, I have not used QR code to collect data before, but what kind of data are you going to collect with QR code? Are you going to, have you already pre-designed a system where when someone scans, is going to bring some form of data from the person? For example, if you buy something with, let's say, WeChat, it's a QR code. If you buy something with that, of course, it has your phone number, it has a time, it has the date, it has the amount you paid. So you can generate data from WeChat using the QR code. But you, the researcher, do you have the software, or do you have the ability to design a system whereby when people scan, you can have that data? And if that is even possible, where are you going to administer your questionnaire? So we have to put into consideration all these things. Unless you want a QR code which leads the researchers to your questionnaire. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So a QR code where if I scan, it's going to open and take me to the form, then I can fill in. That is possible, but that is not going to be free. You need to be ready to pay. It's not going to be free.
All right, thank you. There's a question. Okay, before I go there, Galaxy A8, please, you're on floor. Bring your question on board.
Okay, thank you very much. It's just a clarification. When the doc was speaking on the referencing, I use Note 8, and then there was some portion I'm not quite clear. To cite an article, you cite the author, and then when he came to referencing, he clicked on publications, and then all the articles that he had cited popped up there. I just want to clarify, is it a norm that when you cite and you come to the end of your work and then you put the reference there and you go to the publications, will you have all the authors that you have cited pop up your references? Or you can concurrently, as you cite, it automatically comes into a referencing column too as well? I just need a clarification on that, please.
Yes, if I heard you right, you're talking about the in-text citation and then the reference, right?
Yes, please.
Great. With the Mendeley, when you are done with your in-text citation, then you can go for the referencing. However, if you, for example, if you start writing and you let's say you put in 5 or 6 in-text citations and you go and insert the references, then any other reference any other citation will be added concurrently to the reference list. Can you get it now?
Net.
The network is a little bit bad.
Or
please, you can continue.
Yes,
Dalazi,
but,
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I can get you. But
Yes.
on the interface, what is the function of click on the publication?
I did not click on publication. First of all, I insert. You click insert citation.
I've gotten that part very clear.
Yes, and insert bibliography. It's not publication.
Sorry, it's not public bibliography. Sorry for the mix-up.
Yes, that is what is going to generate your reference list.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
And that's just what I wanted to get.
Yes, that is what is going to generate your reference list.
Okay. I think I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, there's a question here. This question has been up almost every day. The question says, what should be included in defense, pre-defense, and defense presentation? From Eric.
Okay. Yes. If I'm going to speak from the perspective of China, then I think I'll be able to explain to you because I've gone through it. But I don't know where our audiences are coming from. If someone is from another part of the world, please bear with me because I'm going to speak from the experience of the Chinese context. Yes.
About 99% Chinese.
Okay, great. So basically, the thesis process begins with your proposal, okay? So your proposal is basically telling us what you are planning to do, okay? So I plan to do A, I plan to do B, I plan to do C. This is how I want to do it. This is what I'm expecting. So that is your proposal. Now, when you go for your interim, okay, some universities have interim. When you go for your interim, you are going to give us an update of what you've done so far. So your interim is telling us, okay, I told you the last time that I was going to do this, I was going to do that, I was going to do that. So far, this is what I've been able to achieve. I've been able to complete my chapter 1. I've been able to complete chapter 2. These are the challenges I face. These are the success I've been able to achieve. And this is what I'm expecting to do in the coming years or the coming month. Now we go to the pre-defense. Now the pre-defense is actually a defense. Let me put it that way. It's a defense, but internal defense. What I mean by internal defense is that we are not inviting an outsider yet. We are looking at your final work within the school before we take the work to an outsider to give us his or her opinion. So basically, your pre-defense is telling us your work. And you should be able to tell us what you sought out to do, what you achieved, how you achieved it, the challenges you face, and what you've contributed new as a scholar. So basically your pre-defense should be attacked, or it should be viewed as your pass mark. Because if you fail your pre-defense, they are not going to allow you, or they are not going to send your research out to the reviewers. So the pre-defense is actually, to me, I see it to be a very important stage in every person's life as a scholar, because that is when you are coming to demonstrate what you have actually achieved. So at that point, you should be ready for questions that bothers around, like your research objectives, your hypothesis, the methods you use, how you apply them, why you chose them, what you achieved, how it's different from existing ones. And then if you pass, they send your article, or sorry, your thesis out there. And if you are fortunate and your reviewers give you a thumbs up, then you can appear for the final defense, where it's going to be basically the same pre-defense questions. You're still going to defend. You're still going to tell us what you wanted to do, why you wanted to do it. Everybody is doing this. So why do you want to do that? What did you achieve? What did you do differently from what is existing? So except for the proposal and the interim, I think the pre-defense and the defense don't have much of a difference. They don't have much of a difference. And as a student, you should treat those two procedures as very crucial, because failure in either of them could actually set you back.
All right, thank you very much. Zach, bring your question on board.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, a follow-up question on the pre-defense.
Okay.
Let's say you are graduating in next year, June, and
Yes.
now you are writing your paper for publication, and then they ask you for pre-defense. Does it mean that it's your thesis? Because I've not started writing my thesis actually.
Yes, a pre-defense is your thesis. An interim is like, if we remember when we used to write midterm and end of term. So a pre-defense is your thesis. If you are doing a pre-defense, you are ready for the defense. In principle, you are ready for the defense, because just after your pre-defense, if you pass, your work is going for review, external review, where your work will be reviewed by other professors in other universities, and then they come and meet you finally and ask you, okay, this is what you did. So if they are asking you for a pre-defense and not an interim defense, then it's your work.
This early?
Okay, Ola, just a quick one. You made mention that you have not started the actual thesis writing. Is it proposal defense or what exactly it is?
They said pre-defense.
By the way, have
No.
you presented your proposal?
I submitted my proposal during the lockdown. I have not defended my proposal yet.
Then I guess it may be the proposal defense rather. Because if you have not started writing a thesis, no one will ask you to come for thesis defense. Although,
yes, no.
And looking at the time frame, could it be like this far?
Done.
Like the
It's
distance, the time frame.
It's never done. So I think maybe it's miscommunication sometimes. Our people sometimes communication becomes a little bit challenging, especially with the. So I don't think it's pre-defense is like normally after 2 years or even 3 years. You cannot do pre-defense in under a year when you submit your proposal. It's never possible.
Actually, I'm doing my master's and this is my second year.
Oh, okay. If you are doing your master's and this is your second year, then considering the time frame, maybe they think you should be, how many years do you have?
I'll be graduating in June.
Yes, if you be graduating in next June.
Yes, please.
No, even if you graduating next June, then pre-defense should not be now. Pre-defense should be, maybe you are going for interim. You are going for interim defense. Yes, you are going
so
for...
interim defense is like the skeleton of your thesis, right?
Yes, yes.
Right.
Like what you have been able to achieve after your proposal, like what have you done?
Oh.
So basically you tell them it's like status report. Yes, and the challenges you are facing. That's when you tell them the challenges you are facing. If you think you will not be able to complete on time, or you think there are some issues that you need to let them know, that is the time you tell them. Because that is actually, when you start doing your research. So you can tell them, okay, I've been able to complete this, I've been able to complete that, but this one is giving me a challenge. So maybe I will need a week or 2 or a month to be able to complete that. Or maybe I will need the support of this or blah, blah, blah. That's the time you tell them those things.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Zach, the floor is yours.
Okay. First of all, I must say a big thank you to Doug for such a great presentation. Now, During Doc's presentation, I think I heard him saying that in designing questionnaire, you might have to rely on existing literature, or you have to also adopt. Now, my question is, in designing these questionnaire, do we also have plagiarism? Because I might rely on other questions or adopt. Could that lead to plagiarism, or it doesn't matter in designing a questionnaire? And then secondly, apart from the Science Hub, are there other tools that can help us? Sometimes you might be using the Science Hub, then maybe due to other factors, you realize that it's no more working. So if I have other tools, then I can resort to them instead of waiting for this Science Hub to be able to work, then I can continue. Thank you. These are the two questions I need clarifications on. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. Let me just take the first where, yes, when you want to design a questionnaire, you need to rely on theory. You need to rely on literature, because you know, when you are writing a paper or you are doing research, you are building on what is existing. Now, you need to acknowledge when you adopt from someone. Okay, so if you adopt, you're going to adopt from someone's questionnaire, you need to reference the person, or you need to cite the person in your methodology discussion that this questionnaire was adopted from here. However, you are not supposed to pick word by word.
Okay.
Okay, exactly. You're not supposed to pick word by word, because when your article is run through the plagiarism softwares, and you pick word by word, it's going to increase your plagiarism count.
Okay.
So you're not supposed to pick word by word, but you have to acknowledge that my questionnaire was adopted from A, B, or C. And that even gives your work credibility, because people believe that, okay, if you adopted from this person, then it means your work is firmly grounded. You are not just sitting at the back of your house and just thinking about what to ask people. But the most important thing is be careful of the wording. You can change some of the wordings, because sometimes the person even conducted the research in another area and you're also conducting it in another area. So you can change the wording so that you minimize the level of plagiarism. And then the next question about getting the papers. Yes, for now, I use only the SCI Hub, and my university has an account, gives every student an account to almost, let's say almost 70% of the paid journals worldwide. So I believe that all of us being in China, I believe your university should have it. So you need to ask, because we have a VPN given by the university. If you are able to log in that VPN, you can download any paper you want for free. So you should talk to your librarian. You should talk to a librarian, because I got it from my library. And if you go there, I think they should be able to help you, because once you have that, it's easy. You can download as many papers as possible. Otherwise, you can also go to ResearchGate. But that is not really easy, because sometimes ResearchGate, if you see an article you are interested, you have to write to the person, and the person will have to send you a copy. I do that a lot, especially if the paper is published newly and I cannot get it. I just write to the person, or even if it's preprint, it's not yet out, I can write to the person and say, hey, I saw your article is upcoming, not out yet, but I need it. Can you send it to me? And they can send it to you privately, and you can use it. But I think you guys should talk to your librarian. Let your leaders talk to your librarian. They should be able to give you the VPN to get the papers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you can keep your comments coming. You can raise your hand also, and then the floor will be given to you to ask your question.
Okay. Hello, Doc.
Hello.
Yeah. I thought the SCI Hub was for only papers that had DOI that you can use to get access to the papers.
No, you just need the link. You either put in a DOI or you just put in the link of the paper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you have the DOI to the paper or you have the link to the paper, just copy paste and you go. So normally what I do is if I'm looking for good papers, I go to Google Scholar, and on your I think on your left, you can sort out by years. So because I don't want to use too many old citations, you can limit to maybe 2018, 2019, 2020, and your whatever field you are researching on, you can type it in and the papers will come. So you can look at the top publishers, maybe Elsevier, Springer, Sage and stuff like that. Then if you see a paper you like, click on it, copy the link, put it in SCI Hub, voila, you have it.
Oh, okay.
Doc, just to add to that, I also think with the title, if you have the title of the paper, you can also have access to
Exactly.
read through this.
Exactly. If you have the title, exactly, it's good.
Yeah.
If you have the title, you can get it. But normally, if you really want to see new papers in your area, just get your variables, put them in there, sort out by years. Don't go for old, unless it's a theoretical foundation you cannot avoid. Just go for the 2020, 2019, 20, sort it out, and you're going to get good papers that will make your work stand out.
All right, thank you very much, Doc. Let me come in with my question. Doc, you made mention that we should look for the right persons to administer our questionnaires for us. Assuming that I am unable to create WhatsApp group, as in your case you did, and my targeted group may be in the villages in Ghana. How do I get them to administer? Most of them may not be using maybe WhatsApp phone or maybe Android phone, to be precise. So how do I get them to administer these online questionnaires for me?
Yes. So in such a scenario, it's a little bit dicey because that is something that you should even consider when you set out to conduct a research. Who are my target population? Can they read? Can they write? Can they use technology? So in your case, they are in the villages, they cannot use technology. 2, they don't even have access to internet. So if you are in China here and you want to use that kind of group, if you write a paper and you are not careful, your paper is going to be rejected over and over and over again by reviewers because they know you are lying. So in that case, online questionnaire is not possible. The only thing you can do is send a copy to somebody in Ghana, pay the person, let the person go and administer it, get it back to you, and you can run with it. Otherwise, you have to maybe pay some research institutions back home. I know we have some individuals who have institutions that go around collecting data for others, and you can pay them and they can collect that data for you. Otherwise, you cannot use it online. You cannot, because there's no way you're going to tell me as a reviewer that you sat in China, conducted a research in Ghana in a village, and you did online. No, it's not possible.
All right, thank you very much. Just a follow-up. Okay. Sometimes you go to some institutions, for instance, in Ghana, the universities, the professors are so busy to help you administer your questionnaires. Then they ask you, go to my TA. My TA will help you. Is it that appropriate to rely on a TA instead of the main professor for data?
I think a TA is as competent as a professor when it comes to data collection, only if you, the data collector, can let him know exactly what you're doing. The fact that the professor is too busy should not stop you from getting your data. What you need to do is to let the TA know exactly what you want. So once the TA knows exactly what you want, then I don't think there's much of a challenge, because if I want to administer a questionnaire to maybe a group of university students, I don't expect to give the questionnaire to a professor and say, hey, can you help me? He's definitely going to say no. But I can get a TA to do the work for me. That is if the TA knows exactly what I'm doing. So you need to brief the TA very well about what you want, what kind of students you want, because you might not even be targeting the entirety of the school. You'll probably be targeting maybe first year students, or maybe accounting students, or maybe marketing students. So communication is one of the key aspects of getting the data that you want. So you can actually even get, so far as your target group understands the content of your questionnaire, you can actually get someone who's not even a TA to go and administer for you. So I don't think a TA is going to make the results change if we know the right target that we are going to give the questionnaires to.
All right, thank you. Then I think my last question for the day is about Google and then China. We all know that Google is blocked in China. So if I design questionnaire on Google, is there any other search engine that I can use that can also run in China here without relying on Google, knowing very well that it's being blocked in China?
For now, I can tell you for sure that that is the only one that I use. But I have colleagues who use some Chinese apps, and maybe if you really want, I can get them to give you the links, and I'll send it to Joseph, and he can share it among you guys. And so those of you who want to administer questionnaire within China here, you can use it. And I think even if you send it back home, you can use it because you can write it in English. But for now, I use the Google. But the challenge, as you said, is that if I send the questionnaire to anybody within China here, it means the person needs to use VPN. But because my target population is not in China, I don't care, because when I send it back home, they don't need VPN, they can answer. But if you have a target within China here, then you have to get another, another software to do that, which I know there are a lot of them out there. There are a lot of Chinese apps there for that kind of thing, but maybe you have to pay a little bit of money to get that done.
Okay, thank you very much. Eric, please present your question.
Do you know, well, let me come in. Do you know Yandex? Frank, let me just, Eric, can you hold on a minute? Let me just help. A colleague of mine just told me about Yandex. So you can try Yandex. It's a Russian search engine.
Yandex, please, can you respectfully give us the correct spelling of it?
Y-A-N-D-E-X.
Okay, X as in student or X as in xylophone?
Xylophone, X as in xylophone.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, but you will need Google Chrome so you can translate, because most of the stuff are in Russian.
Okay. Thank you very much. Eric, you're on board, please.
Eric, let me hear from you.
Okay.
Hello, Eric, please go ahead.
Thanks, Doc.
Eric's network is so bad. I cannot hear him.
I asked the
Eric, please, can you position yourself very well?
Yes, thanks for the response on your question. Yeah, thanks, Doc. Is it okay?
Not yet.
Hello.
Please.
Not really okay, but
very well. Hello, Eric.
Oh,
hello. Hello. Hello, Eric. Okay, whilst we're waiting for Eric to position himself very well, you can keep your comments coming or you can raise up your hand.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello, this is Eric. Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Yes,
now.
this is okay.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Thank you, Doc. Thanks for the response. I asked the question of pre-defense and the defense. Yeah, thanks for the response. Doc, please, this is something before me in some months to come. And in a case you are asked, what knowledge have you added to research? What best response can you give or can one give? And maybe any additional tidbits you can offer me. Thank you.
So, yes, normally the biggest challenge of defense for every student is that question: what knowledge have you added? Sometimes we have added enough, but we don't know how to approach it, or we don't know what we've added. Now, when we talk about addition, your addition starts right from your topic. So how different is your topic from existing ones? So if you read literature and you look at the topics out there, which variables did others use? And which variables have you introduced that makes your topic different from their topic? That is number one. So your topic can be a contribution based on what is already existing because it's different from what is existing. Second, your methodology. Which methods are you using? For example, if somebody used simple linear regression, or let's say somebody used structural equation modeling to conduct a study, and I've also picked the same variables, and I am using time series, or I'm using, how do we call it, ANOVA, or I'm using panel regression, I'm using binary logistic regression. It means I have added something new because I did not do exactly what the person did. Secondly, your objectives. Which objectives are you putting out there and how are they different from what is already existing? Are you simply stating the same things that others are stating? If you are simply stating the same things, then you are not adding anything. But if you have changed a bit of it, then you can say that so and so conducted a study on the relationship between A and B, but I have found out that I can also add knowledge by looking at A and C. So that is what you have added. Then your results will also be another part that you can add knowledge. What did your results say? Maybe somebody looked at teenage pregnancy in China, and the person found out that teenage pregnancy in China is low. But your result in Ghana is saying that Ghana is high. So you have also added something from the point of the result. So right from your topic till the end, you have added something. But always make your point by comparing what others have done and what you are doing. That is the only way you can make it clear to the reviewers that you know what you are doing. So you always start by saying, A and B did this, I am doing that. A and B did that, I am doing that. And it's easy for you to tell them what you've added to your research.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
You're welcome.
All right, we're still expecting some more questions. If you have them, we are far behind time. And I guess because our internet was not so good from the beginning, we could just add some 2-3 minutes to it. Then we can close for today's session.
Hello, Doc.
Hello.
Thanks for your superb presentation. Just want to quickly ask this question. How do you, gather data? How do you first, let me add this first, how do you survey or read through a paper? Do you have some specific things that you look at when you are reading through a paper? And second, about how many papers or you suggest a person should read before starting a dissertation, okay? And thirdly, do we have something like a strategy? Let's say you read about 2 or 3 papers that serve as your main guide to gather data, or you just, how do you go by it when you want to put together a dissertation? How do you generally go by it? I don't know if my question is really clear.
Yes, I think, so first of all, you said, how do you gather data from research paper, right?
Yes, please.
Are you talking about qualitative data or quantitative data?
Qualitative, please.
Qualitative?
Yes, please.
Yes, if you want to collect data from existing literature based on qualitative, then you will need to do what we call the thematic content analysis. This can be done by using a software, or it can be done by manually putting the work into themes or the objectives of the paper into themes. So what theory are you using, and what is the paper saying about those theories? Those are the areas that you need to take note of. What did the paper say? What did the paper say is going to do, and what did the 20 research?
Hello, Doc.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, it's now okay. Go ahead.
Is that okay? Oh, okay. So what I'm saying is that if you want to collect data from literature, then you have to do the scoping, okay, or the content analysis. You need to look at the objective of the paper and the outcome of the paper. So you can write another research paper from 20 research papers based on what their outcome was. So you can group their outcomes. Let's say if you are looking at technology, for example, you are looking at technology acceptance model, okay? You look at the components of the technology acceptance model, and then one by one, each paper, what did the paper say about this aspect of the model? What did the paper say about that aspect of the model? And you gather data on all that aspect. And you can have, let's say, 10 of your papers saying yes to this, 10 of your papers saying no to that. But normally, qualitative research, if you really want data, you have to read a lot of papers. And then you are saying that, how many papers are you supposed to read? Well, there's actually not a number, because some people can read only 2 articles and it set them rolling, because out of the 2 articles, they can identify their theory and they can identify their objectives. The most important things that you need to know before you start writing your thesis or your research is to know the theory behind what you are doing. So sometimes you have to read 2, sometimes 3, sometimes 10, sometimes 20, but there is not an absolute number. But what I advise is that you need to get a top scholar in your area, at least 5 papers from top scholars in your area. Then you can at least understand the theory behind what you are doing. Once you understand the theory behind what you are doing, it is easier for you to gather other papers later on to support what you are doing. But if you don't know the theory, you cannot even think about an objective. So I don't think there's an absolute number which says you need 20, you need 25. No, it all depends on what you are looking at, because there's some research areas where you will not even get even up to 200 scholars, because it's so new, and all you have to do is just rely on maybe top 5 good papers that helps you to identify the major components of your work, like your theory, your objectives, and the methodology you're going to apply. So I think if you ask me for an absolute number, no, I don't think there is an absolute number for that. Did I miss any of your?
Yeah, last one was that. How do you survey? When you take a paper, do you have to read entirely everything, or there are some key things that you look at?
Yes. Yes. So if you take a paper and you want to, for example, gather knowledge from it, or you want to gather a little bit of data or maybe literature from it, what you do is, first of all, you can do the skimming. The skimming is simply looking at the topic quickly. Sometimes the topic can tell you what the person is trying to talk about. Then quickly you go straight to the abstract. The abstract should tell you what the problem is, what the person wants to achieve, what methods the person used, and the results. This should give you the skeletal view of the paper that you are expecting. Now, the question you need to ask yourself is that, what do I want from this paper? I gather papers based on these 4 themes. Sometimes I gather a paper because I want to learn about the methodology. I want to learn about the econometrics model used. I want to learn about how they collected their data. Sometimes I collect a paper just because I want to see the style that the person used to write the literature. Sometimes I collect a paper because I want to look at the style the person used to write the discussion and the conclusion. Sometimes I have a paper that I just collected that paper because I like the way the person wrote the introduction. So if you take a paper, these are the areas you should focus on. First, the topic. Second, the problem that is at stake. Third, what objective did the person sought to achieve? Fourth, what methods did the person use to get the result the person was looking for? And then finally, the outcome. If you can look at these 3 things and highlight them in your paper, sometimes you don't even have to read all the article. You can save yourself some time, because maybe I can tell you for sure, 20 to 30 to 40% of the article is just something that you don't actually need. So you don't waste much of your time.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Doc. Please let me just chip in with my question.
Okay.
We know mostly in China, the universities will ask you to at least give about 30 or 40 references from Chinese journals or whatsoever. And most of their books or journals are written in Chinese. It's sometimes very difficult to read them and understand. If we use Google Translator, you may end up getting some form of misinterpretation. What would be your best advice if you are asked to maybe get 30 references from Chinese journals or whatsoever, in as much as I have to read them before I can get the references? What advice will you give me?
Okay, I think it's this is let's say it's a domestic thing. But anyway, for me, I've not faced that kind of challenge, but I can understand your point where you have to cite paper which you cannot even understand, first of all, because the language barrier, My advice to you is that right now, when you talk about research, I think China is far advancing. And if you look at some of the top journals, we have a lot of Chinese publishers in English. And even if not even the first author is not a Chinese, sometimes the second author is a Chinese, third, fourth, so stuff like that. So I think just broaden your scope. Don't look, the mistake most of us make is we rely too much on just Google. We don't expand, because there are so many databases out there that we can expand and get papers from other Chinese people that is not necessarily in Chinese language. Because for me, if you ask me to read a paper in Chinese, trust me, even the little ni hao, I'm struggling with it, so I cannot even do that. So for me, I will not advise you to cite a paper in Chinese, because if I'm a reviewer and you have written an article and I know you are not Chinese, and you have cited, unless maybe your co-author is Chinese, then I can say, okay, maybe your co-author read it. But the essence of citing someone is to actually understand their work and add something to yours, or maybe refute what they are saying. So if you don't understand, to me, it doesn't make much sense to add something that you don't even understand. You could even be citing someone wrongly, you know. So to me, I would just advise you to look for only Chinese authors that have papers in English. And there are a lot of them out there. Trust me, there are a lot of them out there. You find them if you take your time.
Then quickly on the database, can you please update us as to where we can get apart from the Google again?
Yes, so as I said, apart from the Science Hub, I know you can go to Yandex, you can find it, even Bing.com, you can go to Web of Science. Web of Science, you're going to find it. Pablons, you can find it. Academic EU, you can find. There are a lot of databases out there that you're going to find wonderful papers that are in English, that are written by Chinese, and you don't have to translate.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Do we still have any more questions? Because I don't see any hand raised here.
Yes.
And there are no questions also coming from the chat session. I guess we are okay with the presentation, and we are fully satisfied with what has gone on today. So at this point in time, even though there is a session for vote of thanks, I want to sincerely thank Doug for his time for us today. And before I do that, quickly, Doug, if you have any final words, bring it before we go to the next session. Your final words for us.
Okay, I think the final word I'm going to say is that you guys have done wonderful. And thank you. I want to thank you on behalf of the entire audience. You guys have done well, because sometimes it's what we don't know that actually hinders us from going forward. And putting such a program together to share knowledge, to help others, you know, to overcome some of these academic hurdles, I think it's a wonderful thing that you've done. My only advice to the audience and everyone is that this is a journey, that you are not in it alone. Do not be left alone. Don't be left alone. Do what you can do. What you cannot do, seek for help. All fingers are not equal. Some are good at writing, some are good at reading, some are good at analysis. If you need help, please seek help. Don't sit in your room, cry, struggle, waste so much time just because of one thing you cannot do. Meanwhile, you have 99 that you could actually do, you know. Sometimes the mistake we make is that we sit down for just one thing to delay us when we can actually do 99 of the remaining. So my advice is, do your best, do the ones you can do. The ones you think you struggle, please seek help. Talk to someone. This is graduate studies. This is not bachelor's degree. We are not looking for who is first, who is last, who is the best, who is blah, blah, blah. We are not looking at that. We are here as a community. If you need help, consult someone. Hey, bro, this is what I'm doing. Can you help? Do you understand this? And trust me, we are going to move forward better and faster than trying to do things on your own. So I think this is the only advice that I have.
All right, thank you very much, Doc. Thank you so much. And on behalf of the chapter executives and the academic committee, I wish to thank you so much for your wonderful time with us today.
You're welcome.
And I'm really impressed about the presentation, and we have taken all your advice in good faith. You made mention that if you need help, you seek. So my brothers and sisters, co-listeners, whenever we need help, we should seek. And this reminds me of the quote from Professor Linda Hammond of Stanford University, saying that teachers have to know what they have to know in order to do what they have to do for educational success to emerge. So as young students and researchers, we have to also know what we have to know in order to do what we have to do for our research success to emerge. Doctor, we are so grateful this evening for your time. At this point in time, we invite our chapter president in the person of His Excellency Divine Setofia to give us the closing remarks. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mr. MC. Yeah. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you warm greetings from the chapter executives.
Please, respectfully, let's see you.
Oh, where I am is not convenient for me, please.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, so we thank God for how far He has brought us today. And today is the last day for our seminar. And as I indicated earlier in my opening remarks, I sincerely acknowledge the effort of our chapter executives, the Committee for Academics, and the National NEC. Yeah, the NEC. You guys have done really a good job, and you deserve to be commended. Yeah. I can't give a closing remarks without acknowledging the speakers for our seminar. And all of us, we can attest to the fact that they are very resourceful. And right from day one, we have been receiving a good feedback from the people. And it's like people are even calling for more of these kind of seminars. So we thank them very much for their good work. And we pray that next time, if we call on them, they will still show up. Yeah. I want to also use this opportunity to admonish our members in the chapter to show much commitment to the union and also participate in every activity that is organized by the union, because that is one of the requirements for being a good standing member. And for being a good standing member, it comes with a lot of benefits. And one of them is, the duty-free shipping to Ghana. Yeah, so I entreat all of us, whenever we call for any kind of activity, let's show up. Yeah, and in a group, we are over 100 members in the group, but averagely, every day we do have like 35, 40 participants. So we can also encourage our colleagues to join. And I want to use this to also inform the union that from national, led by the president, we have been granted a debt relief. So if you are owing your dues right from 2016 to last year, that debt.
Hello, Your Excellency. Hello. Hello, President. Unfortunately, we can't hear President.
Hello?
Hello, President, go ahead.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think my network went off. Yeah, so I said that the National Executive, they have given us a debt relief, yes. So if you are owing your dues right from 2016 to last year, that debt have been waived by the NEC. So you just have to pay for just this year, then you'll be a good standing member. So I encourage all of us to pay our dues as well. And finally, I want to give this word of advice to everyone. We are on a foreign land, and I encourage all of us to be one, united. Yes, because if we are one, we can be able to achieve a lot of things. And one purpose for us being alive today, it means that there is a purpose for us to also achieve. And the purpose is not just for us to enrich ourselves, but to help others. Yeah, so let's exhibit love for each of us. Everyone, let's exhibit what? Love. Then at the end, you should try to achieve the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is to get kind of knowledge and go back to Ghana and develop our country. Anything that comes alongside is just a blessing. So we shouldn't lose our focus. Let's try to stick to our focus. The reason why we are here, then if other things come alongside, that will be a blessing to us. So I thank you all for coming. May God bless NUGS-CHINA and Ghana as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for such a wonderful closing remark. Now, before we take the vote of thanks, let me quickly add that the chapter is under the national, and for that matter, the chapter's academic committee is also under the National Academic Committee. Now, there is a circular going around requesting for ideas and submissions from members to the National Academic Committee as to the kind of programs and activities that we can engage in that will promote our academic status. So I will entreat everyone, if you get the circular on your page, try to scan through, and then if you have any ideas and submissions to make, you kindly forward that through your chapter executives to the national level, so that together we can put on very nice programs and activities that will promote us. Once again, let me acknowledge those who joined from Ghana. We are so grateful for their time, because it's not easy getting data from Ghana to joining. Let's take the vote of thanks from Priscilla Ajua Sego. Priscilla, if you're online, please kindly give us the vote of thanks. Thanks.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good evening once again. I am glad to be given this opportunity to give the vote of thanks for this amazing program. First of all, I will thank the Almighty God for bringing this program to an end successfully from day 1 to day 4, which happens to be today. Secondly, I would like to thank all the executives in charge of the educative program. I will not end this without thanking the facilitators and the moderators as well. They did a wonderful job, and we are much grateful. This program wouldn't have been successful without our honorable members, and I say, may the good Lord bless us all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Priscilla Ajua Sego. Before we take the closing prayer, once again, let me thank our facilitators for the whole session. Dr. Magbodu, Dr. Benjamin Kakari, Mr. John Dumefo, and then Dr. Sifas P.K. Kofi. We thank all of you so much for such a wonderful time with us to update us as young researchers and students, and we are so grateful. If we want to pay for the services that you have provided, it's rather unfortunate that we cannot pay. But what we can say is that may the good Lord richly bless you. At this point in time, we're going to take the closing prayer from Elder Moses Amiao. Elder, please, if you're online, kindly give us the closing prayer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We're taking the closing prayer. Father Lord, we thank you for a section as this. We pray in the name of Jesus for what you've done for us. We thank you for everything that has happened. We said we should study to show ourselves approved. This is the knowledge we have acquired. We pray that you help us to put this knowledge into practice to benefit humanity. We thank you and we bless your holy name. Be with us all and cause us to have a very fruitful month. For your glory and for your glory. In Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you very much, Eda. I must say that officially this session has ended, but on the other side, we will hold on. Those of us who want to chat online, we can do that. But let me once again extend my warm regards to my executive producer for today's session, our Women Commissioner, Linda Afole. Big executive producer, thank you so much for the wonderful production today. I really appreciate. So our facilitator can leave us, but for some of us, we'll stay online for some time for some casual interactions. Thank you very much. May the good Lord be with us all. Amen.
Frank, you forgot the roll call.
I forgot the roll call, but it's unfortunate. Many people have left, so sorry for that. I didn't.
Delete it unnecessarily.
I should have written it down. Unfortunately, I didn't write it down. Sorry for that.
Boss don't get it.
Honorable PC, I'm here.
I beg you, let boy there around.
When I go there, no.
I thought the roll call was supposed to be on the page rather, and don't get it.
Linda, where are you? Please, let's see your face, Linda.
Masa.
This is where we had the program.
Yeah, Carol.
No, Linda, I just you're living organism, and for that matter, you are not a good, respect-free. So it's very prudent that we see your face.
Hello, Uncle.
Maya.
My post exact number. Group no mutaya na wa adeno. Also.
Yeah. Well, he's very, very good. He has been very, very good participant. So
he's
grateful.
Always the first the first person to leave. Yeah, Pompon, the first person to free her.
Yeah, he's very conscious of time. That's good. A good behavior for every success.
Linda, where are you? Linda.
Oh, Frank. One year roll call.
My one and only executive producer.
I not said it free here. Hey, Elder Moses, you are still here.
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh. I thought you left. Mpache to say.
No, we are fine.
Hey, and I went to my mama mesa.
Sana problem.
Wait, Master Mama Miss. Maya.
When did the open that? Oh my God.
In the divan. Prezo.
There will be disaster here today.
Frank.
I hope I can.
Frank.
So Yantonga. And then Tonga. Yapo Yantonga.
What's that, Mr. Ho? Mr. Ho, Charlie.
Frank, nipa na catch us a baby or on a convenient man. Also, be saying some questions.
No, because you say, on the man, because you say, I just say, or da or be Kuman, Naja.
I say, a holiday to be engine anyway. So, that president, so I think engine in a holiday. Why?
Him for pan or president.
But you guys had my idea, Charlie, my idea. You first, my idea.
Yeah.